Hi, my name is Jay Oza. I teach, mentor, and coach people on public speaking so that they can give winning speeches, whether it's one on one in a job interview environment, or in front of a small group at a business or sales meeting, or in front of a large audience at a conference. Today, I want to talk about should you be giving winning speeches all the time? Because I know when I introduce myself, I teach people to give winning speeches. And people are sometimes confused by this, thinking that every time they speak, they're out to win. No, in fact, it's not even feasible. What I mean by this is you have to pick and choose what speeches you want to win. Because you can't win all the speeches every time you're speaking. You're just not going to have that kind of energy because speaking at, at a high stakes level is mentally draining. There is so much thinking that goes on because you're doing so many things that it's just not practical that you could be on all the time. It's like think of yourself as like an actor. An actor backstage is relaxed, doesn't want to see anybody, just meditate. Then he gets on a stage and he's alive. He's ready to go and he's going to put on a great performance and it's going to be exhausting, and afterwards he doesn't want to see anybody. That's the kind of energy, both physical and mental energy, that's required when you're speaking. And I know this because when I record these videos, I'm exhausted, even though it looks pretty straightforward and simple, and I'm not even speaking in front of an audience. But it is mentally draining because I'm trying to do, good to great job. But when you get in front of an audience, it's a totally different animal. You are really on top of your game, and you're like watching everything that's happening. You have to pay attention to what you're saying. You have to pay attention to what the audience, how they're reacting, and then you're trying to take them some kind of a journey. So there's a lot of thinking going on, and on top of it, there's this performance. Like here, I can't really perform because there's not much movement I can do. I have to be in front of this camera. But if I were on a stage, then I would be moving. I would use more kinds of motion. I'm very animated type of speaker, but that also becomes extremely exhausting. So you have to ask yourself that every speech you don't have to be on top of your game. Otherwise, you're just going to drain yourself out and not perform when it's required. So what you do is you have to identify during the day or whatever. If it is like that, if you're busy, but you're giving a lot of speeches, you're talking to a lot of people, identify the key speeches, rank them on top two, three, four, or five, and that's how you prepare, and that's how much time and energy you want to put into those speeches that are ranked at the top. And in a day, it could be maybe one in the morning and one in the afternoon at most, depending on your energy level. And here's the thing: energy is not like there's an endless supply of energy. You can have physical energy. Physical energy is one thing. People run marathons, people play golf, people play tennis. They can do that for a long time, jogging, running, walking, all that, right? Mental energy is extremely draining. So even though you could be in a meeting where you have to constantly think, that can be very tiring. And you're going to be exhausted if you have a real intense meeting in the morning. And it can be a half hour, whatever it is. You're going to be tired, especially if you're doing a lot of speaking, because there's listening, speaking, and it gets very tiring. But if you're giving a high stakes speech, whether it's in a job interview or in a business meeting or in front of a conference, it is going to tire you out. So you want to be prepared for that. You want to be relaxed and also have you sleep the previous night. you want to make sure that you're not exhausted. Like, let's say if you have to give a speech in the evening and it's a high stakes speech, you want to make sure that you take a nap or you sleep in such a way so that you are fresh few hours before you have to give a speech. And before you have to give a speech, don't do anything that's going to exhaust you. Means like don't have a, like, one of the things that people tend to do in business, which what some of the reasons why people are not that productive, is they schedule back-to-back meetings and then they'll say, I'm going to interview a candidate. Now think about it. If you're that candidate, there is no way that that person is going to be deeply involved. That person is just going to go through motions. So that's why I always like to schedule my interviews the beginning, first thing in the morning. If I don't get an interview first thing in the morning, then I don't take it, because I want that person to be sharp. I'm going to be sharp, and I expect that person to be sharp. I don't want to come in the end of the day when that person is completely drained. I have no idea how much energy that person is going to have. And that applies to meetings too. I always like to do the meetings in the morning. Sometimes you can't, but given a choice, I prefer it in the morning. And same thing, if I'm speaking in front of people, I like to do it first thing in the morning. That's when I'm most effective. Now, does that mean I'll always get it? No, but given a choice, I will pick first thing in the morning when I'm fresh, I've had a good night's sleep, relaxed, and I don't have any other distractions. And that's another thing. When you get to it, get there early. If there's going to be traffic, leave a few hours early, because when you get there, you want to be relaxed. And this applies to any kind of high stakes speech situation, whether it's interview, business meeting, or at a conference. Okay, so to close this out, what I'm trying to say is that every speech is not high stakes. You got to pick and choose and prioritize in a day. A day you may be able to do two speeches, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, if they are really high stakes. Otherwise, you're mentally just not going to be sharp. You're going to be at a disadvantage if you really need to win. So think about this. Other speeches, just make it light. You don't have to put on your top performance. And in fact, somebody may even find you boring. You don't always have to give winning speeches. Sometimes they could be a functional boring speech is quite good. It gets the job done. It keeps things moving. And then pick and choose when you have to give a high stakes speech that you have to win. And that's the one you put all your energy, time, and even money to make to win that one. Okay? So I hope this clears up a lot of things when I say that I coach people so that they can give winning speeches. And that doesn't mean all the time you're giving speeches. It's the one that you absolutely have to win to make some kind of progress, whether it's a job interview, business meeting, or at a conference. I hope that clears up things. And if you have any questions, let me know. And thank you for watching. And remember, next time when you give a speech, be completely clear of everything so that you have the energy to give a great performance and win. Thank you.